right, welcome back. Week 2. It's a great day to be a vegetable shirt because we're talking about fiber, gut health, and blood sugar balance. These things are going to go great on top of your foundation of eating more protein, drinking more water, and moving more. Hopefully you were able to tackle all of those and they were doable and you're able to maintain those throughout the challenge. And towards the end of the challenge, we'll talk about what is sustainable for each of you. But for now, keep those up. Keep a high protein breakfast and water and steps. So continuing on with those, and now going to add in fiber, which is our fruits and veggies, our beans, our grains, our oats, our plant foods. So let's start with gut health. What is gut health? You know, it's definitely a very popular term in the wellness field, and for good reason. I mean, there's the gut-brain connection. It's just incredibly important. If we have a healthy gut, we have a healthy being. So gut health is basically the well-being of your digestive system. And your digestive system is, everything. It starts with your salivary glands, your teeth, all the way down into your stomach, into your intestines, and out through your large intestines. So the well-being of your digestive system, the balance of bacteria and other microorganisms living in your stomach and intestines. So we want, to really simplify it, more good bacteria than bad bacteria. The bad bacteria being, an abundance of toxins. So that might be parasites, bad bacteria, fungus, things like that just can wreak havoc. And when we have too many of those and not as many good guys, we experience a lot of bloating, constipation or diarrhea, cramping, abdominal pain, low energy because we're not absorbing the nutrients from our food because our digestive system is just pretty inflamed. And so all of that stuff contributes brain fog, and we'll get into that. But that's pretty much the gist of gut health, making sure you have a good ratio of good bacteria to bad bacteria. The impact on health, digestion, mood, cognition, skin health. If you get a lot of rashes or outbreaks or really dry skin, this could all come back to the state of your gut microbiome. Energy, like I just mentioned. Immune function, 80%-ish. No one's exactly sure the exact amount, but a large majority of your immune system is in your gut. So if you have a good microbiome, strong gut health, strong digestion, your immune system is going to follow suit. It's also going to be strong. You might pick up a common cold here and there, but you fight it lickety-split. Or you just don't pick it up very easily. You have a good shield. And joints and muscle health. Again, coming back to, if you're not absorbing your nutrients, if your gut is inflamed, if you're not eliminating it, if you're super backed up, it's going to contribute to inflammation in the body, and you might have more joint pain or muscular tension. Factors affecting gut health. So how can what levers can you pull to improve your gut health? Diet, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's why we're here, big focus on diet, food. Sleep, stress, exercise, time in nature, and medications, antibiotics. Antibiotics, time and place for these guys, but they can be overly prescribed. And so just really making sure it's exactly what you need. And because it can really wipe out your microbiome, and that's leaving your gut pretty vulnerable. So then it really matters, what you're eating, what you are repopulating with in terms of your food. If you start just eating a lot of simple sugars, candy, white breads, alcohol, you're going to repopulate it, unfortunately, with not the best of the best. So being really careful with that. And if you are on antibiotics, try to eat a lot of fermented foods and probiotics while on that. And that will help decrease the damage to your microbiome. Signs of good gut health: regular bowel movements, stable energy levels, strong immune system, minimal bloating, and stomach discomfort. And so the signs of poor gut health would be pretty much the opposite of this. Constipation and diarrhea instead of regular bowel movements, low energy, getting sick all the time, and chronic bloating, abdominal discomfort, a lot of gas, a lot of belching, things like that would be signs that your gut health could use some improvement for sure. So let's talk about it. How can we improve our gut health? So keeping things simple and straightforward here, eating a variety of fiber, eating a variety of plants is how we do that. So fiber, the average American eats half the recommended amount of fiber. So the recommended amount is about 25 to 35 grams per day, and we're getting about half of that, most of us, let's say. So my goals for you in this challenge are going to depend on if you're tracking or not. But so if you are tracking, I want you to try to hit 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories you're eating. For everybody else, over 25 grams a day, that's about 6 servings, or you could just use a visual, 6 fists of fruits, veggies, plants. So that would be 2 with every meal. 2, 4, 6, done. And then lastly, 30 different plants per week. So that's exciting because I said, how do we improve our gut health? A variety. It's got to be a diverse portfolio of plants to really get different positive bacteria in there. And so, yes, 30 different plants per week. When I first heard this, my jaw dropped. I'm like, no way. There's no way that's going to happen. I'm going to be very honest with you. I have not tried this yet, and I'm going to do it with you. So in this module, I think it's under forums or protocol, there is a checklist for you that somebody else made who does this kind of challenge, the 30 different plant challenge. So print it out, put it on your fridge, put a check mark after you eat it, and try to get 30 in across the week. And luckily that does include nuts and seeds and beans and grains. It's not just, kale and Brussels sprouts. You could use your spices and all that. So that's kind of what our goals are for this week. And also just want to reframe, if you ever find something is really hard, people say, and I've been guilty of saying this for years, behavior change is really hard. And it's important to validate that, but it's also important to not say that over and over and over to yourself. This is going to be hard, or this is a lot. Watch your language and watch what you believe, because it really matters. Behavior change is only hard when we don't understand the underlying root of why we're doing what we're doing. And so once we could get to that root, we can simplify it and we could work our way out of it. And things are usually hard in the beginning, but then it's like, okay, it's not that hard. You have your toolkit and you know what to do. And so the same is going to be with this. It might be hard at first getting this much fiber in, but we're meal prepping, right? We're going to be stocked and ready. Veggies are going to be chopped, cooked, and just need to be heated up or eaten raw, whatever you want to do. And it shouldn't be that bad. And so creating awareness is a big thing in this challenge. That's what's going to help you guys stay sustainable after the challenge of just, okay, I now understand what to eat. I have the knowing, and now it's just acting on it consistently. And so this is another tool to create awareness around, am I eating enough different plants? 1, am I eating enough fiber? 2, am I eating enough variety of fiber? That's what a big part of this week is about, and creating awareness. So those are your 3 goals there. So let's talk more about fiber and let's learn more about it. So what does it do? So fiber improves gut health by feeding our good gut bacteria. These plant foods have what are called prebiotics, which are food for the probiotics, the bacteria in our gut. And so we're basically eating fruits and veggies, feeding our good guys, helping populate them more and more and more and more. I mean, us as humans, we're basically a host for bacteria. The number is absolutely insane of how many just microorganisms we have inside of us. And so we are merely a host for them. So let's treat them kindly and let's feed them so they continue to work for us, creating a good, healthy life. It adds bulk to our stool. Okay, bowel health, very important. Blood sugar control. So it slows the absorption of sugar in your bloodstream, and that's really important. A lot of people are here wondering how to have steady energy throughout the day. And so this week we're going to talk about that more. And fiber is one of the keys of steady energy. Weight management. So it's satiating, it's filling, and fruits and veggies don't have many calories, especially non-starchy veggies. They don't have many calories at all. And you're not going to overeat broccoli. You're just not. You're going to get so you're just going to know when you're done. Unlike potato chips, unlike anything that has, both sugar and fat and salt combined, those things are what we overeat. And so veggies are not it. So very good for weight management because it keeps us full, satiated, and has a ton of antioxidants, which are anti-inflammatory, just a ton of vitamins and minerals. Think micronutrients. So we talk, a lot about the macronutrient of protein last week, and this week talking a lot about the micronutrients, our vitamins and minerals that will reduce inflammation and just keep our levels topped up for our energy, for our focus, for performance, for our weight management, and all the stuff that we're here for. So that is what fiber does. That is why fiber is important. There's two types of fiber. First one is soluble fiber. This type of fiber dissolves in water and becomes gel-like, which slows down the rate in which food and sugar hit the bloodstream. So again, it's important not to have sugar hit the bloodstream like that and give us a spike, because then we crash, right? There's no peak without a valley, and we will just be down probably even further than we were before we ate that. So adding fiber to every meal is a good way to manage your blood sugar and reduce those peaks. Examples of soluble fiber are oats, peas, beans, apples, bananas, berries, citrus, carrots, barley, psyllium, and some other fruits and veggies. Insoluble absorbs water but does not dissolve in water. So it helps move food and toxins through the digestive tract, promoting regular bowel movements. So examples of this would be the skins and seeds of fruit, whole grain breads and pastas, brown rice, beans, flax, and chia seeds, and some fruits and veggies. So a little bit more of the aggressive side of things for the insoluble. And you need them both. I wouldn't get too hung up on this slide and differentiating between the two, but look at the list. And if you eat like mostly soluble, but not much insoluble, then, try to add in the other one that is lacking and just try to create a good balance. You'll most likely hit it if you're eating a diverse set of fiber in general. So you don't need to like overthink it or get too analytical, but just some good information to see if you are like, wow, I don't have any insoluble fiber. Maybe I should try more of that, is what this one's about. So how do we increase fiber? So here are some tips, just about increasing protein. Like the main tip is to eat more of what you're already eating. If you already have 3 eggs at breakfast, have another egg. That would be a way to increase your protein. So same with fiber. So here's, 1 to 2 closed fists. 1 to 2. If you hit 2 at each meal, you're good, but you could also have a veggie snack. So include 1 to 2 closed fists of fruit and veg at each meal. That will do it. And it's going to take you being stocked, right? It's going to take that grocery store, that shopping list, and having a lot of fruit on hand and veggies chopped, cut, and ready to go. So there's no roadblock there. Choosing whole grains instead of white flour. When we eat, white flour is stripped of fiber. So whenever you see like a white food, for the most part, white potatoes are very satiating. They're good for you, but you got to eat the skin, right? So, and most people eat baked potatoes in a pretty unhealthy manner, but just a regular good old white baked potato is totally fine. Pair it with a little bit of fat, eat the skin, and you have your fiber, fat, and carbohydrate, and a good amount of fiber. So choosing whole grains instead of white flour, and that goes for bread too. This isn't a challenge of not eating bread. There's a lot of like nutrition advice, like don't eat bread and you'll lose 10 pounds. Eat your bread, just choose, like higher fiber breads so that you can work on your blood sugar and you can have a bit more fiber in you. So that's choosing like the whole grain or the flaxseed loaf instead of the French loaf or anything white. Sourdough, if it's like a good starter from a local bakery that has a good chance it's very well fermented, that could be really good for your gut because that would be considered a fermented food. But, go back and forth. Don't only eat sourdough. Definitely try some darker loaves. Choosing smoothies over juices. If you go, and like to get a juice every so often, get a smoothie instead because the juices are also kind of stripped of their fiber. And so we're trying to increase fiber, have the smoothie. It's more of the whole fruit. Adding flax and chia It's a good way, like you could just kind of brighten up your yogurt with those, or add them to your smoothie, or enhance your oatmeal. Anything like that, like is a good way to increase your fiber. And meal prepping your veggies and keeping fruits in stock. Just said that. Warning, if you're not used to eating much fiber and you start adding 2 servings with every meal, you will probably feel bloated. You will probably feel uncomfortable for a little bit. It makes sense. Your body's adapting. You're giving it something brand new, a much higher volume than it's used to, and it just doesn't have the practice or enzymes to break that all down as efficiently as you'd like. And so it's just going through slowly and maybe fermenting in your intestines a little bit, causing gas, causing that bloating and extension. So my advice there is, if you're not used to eating much fiber at all, just try for 1 serving, 1 fist at each meal. If you're already eating fiber at each meal, just try to increase it a little bit, and hopefully you won't have any bad setbacks. But also, like, it's not a bad thing. If you're like really uncomfortable for weeks and weeks, then maybe back off. But just know that your body's adapting, and it's January. Like, as long as your bloating isn't comfortable, it's a great month to be bloated. Let's be honest. Who cares? Let's just like try something new. You don't really have anything to lose. You're just eating more vitamins and minerals. And so, give it a shot. It's a challenge. It might not work for everybody. That's nutrition. That's, us being humans and different. But usually for a large majority of the population, eating a good amount of fiber is a very good thing to do for your health. Fermented foods. So these foods increase the diversity of our gut microbiome, and studies show that the higher the diversity in the gut, the healthier the person is. There is an article that I attached in this module that will explain this further, why diversity is so important. But fermented foods is a way to increase the diversity of the gut microbiome because they are alive and they have what our bacteria want, and like it introduces new bacteria to the gut. And so that's super important. And so here are some examples of fermented foods: sauerkraut, kimchi, plain yogurt, kefir. Those are all kind of my go-tos, those 4. And I love pickles. I just put coconut next to kefir because I know we have some dairy-free people. And so you can get some coconut kefir, be safe there. Tempeh. I mean, a few of these here, tempeh, miso, natto, are all fermented soybeans. And so natto, I have never tried. I would like to. It's pretty high in iron, manganese, I believe vitamin K, but I have heard it tastes so bad. So if anyone does it, I will give you so many bonus points and let us know what it tastes like. But you could find that, pretty sure, like right near the tofu and tempeh in the refrigerator aisle. All of these things, except the sourdough, should be refrigerated, ideally in a glass jar. And if you can, buy local sauerkraut, local kimchi, local yogurt. That would be the best source. But again, being realistic and not an elitist, buy what you have in your budget and do your best. Kombucha, I don't, for weight management and weight loss, drinking calories isn't a great thing to do. You really don't want to get calories in your liquids. You want to get calories in your food. So I think kombucha once a week is fine. Other than that, definitely don't drink it daily. It's not necessary. Get it on fermented foods elsewhere. And then sourdough, like I said, like a good local one, or if you make your own, that's amazing with a good starter. And then, so 2 tablespoons a day. All right, 2 tablespoons a day. How I do it is either through yogurt, or I always have a little bit of kimchi or sauerkraut. I'll just take a spoon and eat it, and then I'll make dinner, and then I'm done. I don't have to worry about pairing it and making sure these things go together. I'm just going to have it like therapeutically, get my digestion going, and then I'll make dinner. So that's how I do it. And also it's a live food. So open the jar, have a little bit of it, close it, put it back in the fridge. All right. We don't want anything dying off. We want all the live cultures. Okay, so how do you know if your blood sugar is dysregulated? Let's move into blood sugar management. This is going to be great for people who are like crashing at 2 o'clock. I'm crashing at 3 o'clock. What do I do? And I'm not saying this is going to magically fix that. There's also, the sleep component and the stress component and the exercise and movement component, but we're talking nutrition here. So here's some things you can try. First and foremost, high protein breakfast. So hopefully that's helping already. And then adding some fiber to that high protein breakfast will hopefully just do wonders. Continuing on into high protein lunch, high veggie lunch, and dinner. So we'll see if that works, because your blood sugar is dysregulated when you have this series of ups and downs in energy and mood throughout the day and week. That's how you know. It's pretty subjective. You kind of know if you're kind of riding the roller coaster, right? If not, you feel pretty steady and even keel, you're probably doing a good job, but it wouldn't hurt to get labs done. You could get your blood sugar tested and see if it's high or not. And those are just like annual stuff that everybody should be doing, keeping an eye on. So outcomes of dysregulated blood sugar, riding that roller coaster, basically it would look like you're hangry, you're irritable, you have sugar cravings, your energy is pretty darn low. Bad PMS, hormone dysregulation can definitely be a sign. So when blood sugar is chronically dysregulated, it will lead to systemic inflammation. Having peaks and valleys every so often is what it means to be human. But if it's like all the time, it's going to lead to inflammation, which is at the root of many preventable yet serious diseases like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, skin issues, poor sleep, autoimmune disease, metabolic diseases, any of them. It can really be a contributing factor. So it's super important to stabilize your blood sugar. How do we do that? How do we stabilize our blood sugar? How do we have energy all day long? Water and protein before coffee. If you douse yourself with caffeine and exist on coffee all morning long, you're going to set yourself up for a ride on the blood sugar roller coaster. It's just what's going to happen, okay? A whole food diet emphasis. A whole food diet with emphasis on protein and fiber. So especially at breakfast. A high protein and fiber breakfast, if you do nothing else in this challenge and you just focus on that first meal of the day, you will have a really great year. You will have a healthier year than you did the year before. I am sure of it. So protein and fiber at breakfast earlier, and don't wait till like 11. If you're not hungry and you drink caffeine in the morning, that caffeine is most likely suppressing your appetite, and that's why you're not hungry. You could also be eating or snacking too late into the night. And so if you cut back on that, you could find you're hungrier in the morning. And also, once you start eating more in the morning, forcing it a little bit, not too much, you're going to find that your appetite signals are starting to come back on. And so it gets easier. It gets easier with practice, as does everything, right? All right. So blood sugar management, protein and fiber focus, and whole food diet, right? We didn't really talk about it, but it's such a foundational pillar of, 85 to 90% of your diet being whole foods. There is time and place for everything else. Go for it. Don't overdo it, but go for it. Don't worry about it. As long as your, foundation is whole foods. If you're snacking, try to get, pretty high protein there, because protein is the best macronutrient for blood sugar control. 15-minute walk after meals, just a great habit to get into. It really helps, slow down the blood sugar hitting your bloodstream right away. Sugar hitting your bloodstream right away. So it really helps with those spikes if you could get out and move and circulate. Eating slowly and mindfully. So that is, take 3 breaths before each meal and just be conscious with your food. Chew it, digest it. When you eat slowly, your digestion will be so much better. If you're eating in the car, eating on the go, eating in front of the computer and not paying attention, you're probably going to be bloated. You're probably going to overeat later. You're probably going to be thinking about food all day long. So be present with your food when you're eating it. And we'll talk more about that in a different module, but just like planting the seeds of take 3 deep breaths and really try to be more conscious and grateful, when you're eating. Pairing any white flour product with fat, fiber, or protein just to slow things down. So even if it is a slice of sourdough bread, put a little avocado on it, smoked salmon on it, a little smear of butter, whatever, just so it's not straight up simple sugar. Balanced meals, just in general, 3 balanced meals a day, carbs, fat, protein. Limit added sugar to 25 grams a day. So I haven't talked about added sugars much, but that's just a number for everyone tracking and just creating awareness. I do want you guys reading labels of the foods you're eating. And so you could start to pay attention with how much added sugar that will be a line is in the chocolate bar or the chips or the crackers or whatever it is, the bar that you're eating, and really limiting it to 25 grams a day, I think is a good practice. So per serving, I would try to shoot for under 5 grams per serving. Yeah. Choose darker, more fibrous grains when able. Move throughout the day, so increasing circulation. Build muscle via strength training. So muscle is like the best thing you could do for your metabolic health. Like the more muscle you have, it like acts as a sponge to sugar in your bloodstream. It just sops it up. It's like, I'll take that, and strength training, so important. We're not going to get into it here, but if you don't have a strength training practice, definitely put that on your list to try next. Let's see. Don't overeat. Causes inflammation when we eat way too much than what we need. Don't undereat and skipping meals. That could also set you up for a blood sugar roller coaster. And then my favorite supplements for managing blood sugar are omega-3 fatty acids, very anti-inflammatory, very good for if you have crazy sugar cravings. Start taking and siphon it out 1 gram a day over the course of have one after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and see if your sugar cravings go down. Berberine is another one, and vitamin D3, K2 is a definite. I think everyone here is either in Montana or Colorado or in New York, like a northern latitude. So really important to have that really 3 out of the 4 seasons a year, with summer being the exception. And the one I forgot to mention, magnesium biglycinate. And if you want to have a 20% off of Thorne supplements, or third-party tested, super high quality, you're not wasting your money on getting them at, no offense, Costco, Target, CVS, Walgreens. If you're getting those generic brands, you're not getting what you need and you're wasting your money. So let me know if you want a 20% discount code and I'll set you up with a profile, and then it's yours. You could ask me what to order, or you could just go in there and shop around and get these things. So let me know about that. Just shoot me a DM. All right. And then lastly on blood sugar, just like this visual I found was pretty cool, the blood sugar clock. And so starting at night, around 8 to 10 p.m., after dinner, you're going to have a rise in blood. It should say blood sugar. It's after each meal, whenever we eat, no matter what it is, we're going to have a slight rise. If it's like a really high, if it's like a bunch of candy, it's going to be, like a bigger rise. But if it's a balanced meal, even if it's high in protein, we're going to have a bit of a rise. That's just what it does. So after dinner, you'll have a bit of a rise, and then it'll go down again around bed. And so they're saying aim to be in bed by 10 o'clock. If you've not gone to sleep by 11, low blood sugar levels may cause a cortisol spike, which is our stress hormone, which will keep you awake longer. So that's important. That's what I tell a lot of my clients: be asleep by 11. Or it's going to be harder to fall asleep. So sleep hygiene, sleep routine, important. 12 to 4. So during this time, your cortisol level should be at the lowest. If you have a tendency to wake up during this period, it may be due to excessively low sugar. Try having a healthy snack with protein and healthy fats before bed. My go-to is some yogurt or kefir with some berries or a little bit of honey, and that usually does it's okay to go to bed slightly hungry, but if you're really hungry, you're probably going to wake up with low blood sugar. Yeah, so if you are waking up, that's something to try. If you're waking up between 12 and 4, could be other things, but it's fun to try nutrition. 8 a.m. So this is when your cortisol levels will reach their highest point. Body's ready for a meal. Yeah, usually really good energy around 8 a.m. If you wake up naturally, you'll notice right around 8 a.m. you're feeling ready to go. All day, throughout the day, like I said, blood sugar levels will raise after you eat, reaching their highest point around 30 minutes post meal. And then they'll start to come down. All right, let's review gut health. So, diet's a huge factor in determining the health of your gut. Regular bowel movements, good energy, and minimal bloating are indicators that you have good gut health. Aim for 2 tablespoons of fermented foods daily. Aim for 5 to 6 servings of fiber daily. Fiber being just, plant foods, veggies, fruits. Healthy gut, healthy you. That's actually a book and a podcast by a gut health doctor, but I just always think that. So if you want to learn more, Healthy Gut, Healthy You, you could just buy that book and learn more about gut health. He's a super smart gut health doctor. Fiber, 2 types of fiber, soluble and insoluble. Fiber promotes satiety, bowel regularity, immune health, and blood sugar balance. Fiber is loaded with micronutrients, which are our vitamins and minerals, and antioxidants, which reduce inflammation. Eat the rainbow. So that's where diversity comes in. Get different colors on your plate. Buy new things. Try something you have never tried before. I dare you. All you have to do nowadays is Google how to eat it, or just say it out loud, and someone will tell you how to do it. Blood sugar control, necessary for steady energy. So if our blood sugar is controlled and managed well, our energy should be pretty stable. If it is dysregulated, you'll have highs and lows. You'll be hangry, irritable, have sugar cravings, changes in mood, and have some inflammation. And inflammation can present itself as maybe it's a skin issue, maybe you have acne or rashes or dry skin, itchy skin. It could be joint pain, muscle tension, poor sleep. Inflammation shows up in so many ways, gas, bloating, but the big one I think about most is joint pain. Headaches a big one. PMS. Okay, if it's chronic, so if your blood sugar is always imbalanced, it's going to cause systemic inflammation and eventually lead to serious diseases, which we don't want because we can prevent that. Eating a high protein, high fiber diet will maintain your blood sugar and keep you very healthy for a very long time. So here we go, week 2 challenges. 6 servings, 6 fists of fiber per day. If you're tracking, 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories consumed. If you're eating 2,000 calories, your goal is 28 grams of fiber. 30 different plants this week. That's going to be a fun one, okay? Watch your language. If you're like, that's impossible, it will be impossible. Great. Okay, you're not going to do it. So be like, you know what? That is possible. I'm going to do my best. Let's have fun. Just stay curious. If you don't get it done, no judgment. It's your first time trying it. I might fail. I'm doing it right alongside you. I'm excited. I'm super curious and really curious to see like how my gut health responds, if there's a change, if not. Yeah. So let's all do it together and see how we feel. And the common struggle is important. So whenever I have clients increase their protein and then I'm like, okay, we got to address your fiber because that's pretty low. They're just like, I'm so full all the time. How do I eat this much food? So here's how you can do it. It's going to be different for everybody. One, it might be a lot more food than you're used to, but most likely you're cutting out a lot of the crap you've been eating on the side. So there is room for it. If you're not cutting out the extras, then yeah, it's going to be a lot of food. So really trying to really limit any processed food, any snacking that maybe you're not actually hungry for, and any late night cabinet raids will free up some space. Reducing coffee, caffeine, an appetite suppressant will help your appetite. And, basically in the morning, if you could just have a high protein breakfast and add some seared kale, sauteed spinach, sliced up cucumber or peppers, it's not that much, also non-starchy vegetables, like some of them are just a lot of water content. So, which is also filling, I guess. So you could aim for more of a high protein breakfast and then like a big salad at lunch and then still get your protein in, but make sure it's a lean protein that isn't super filling. And then you could get more fiber in there. And then dinner, like half and half. Get in a few veggies and 5 ounces of animal protein or your tofu or fish, whatever it is. And one way to do it. So less fatty cuts of meat leaner proteins and cooked veggies, I think, go down a little easier than raw veggies. So those are some ways to do it if you're like, I'm so full, I can't do it. And two, give yourself time. Keep at it. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but give it a good try. And that's why you're here, right? To try new things and be challenged. So, and if things come up, message me, please, in the group chat, direct message, and we'll work it out. Pop quiz. All right. So I remembered the slide this week. I'm getting better. How can eating a high fiber diet help manage your weight? What are 3 things you can do to improve your gut health? What's one way you can do better to support your blood sugar this week? Are you going to try natto? I hope that's how you pronounce it. If not, sorry. DM me the answers to complete the module. And yeah, thank you again for your efforts and for being here. And I hope you have another great week. And I will see you in the group chat. Bye-bye.